Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at a band I've not heard before. I've heard of them, I've heard mention of them before, but only in passing. I've never actually heard any of the music. It's a band called Night Crowned. Now, as is normal, I tried to do a little bit of research, but very, very limited information was available. I spent quite a while looking for information and really couldn't come up with very much, and what I did find was from Encyclopedia Metalum. Which, as I've mentioned on many occasions, is hideously unreliable at times. So how accurate this information is going to be, I don't know. But what I found is Night Crowned is a 4-piece melodic black/death metal band from Gothenburg, Sweden, formed in 2016. The lyrical themes of their music normally revolve around nihilism, death, apocalypse, and darkness. So pretty standard for black and death metal there. And to date, they've released one EP, which was released in 2018, and one album, which was released last year. Now, we're going to be looking at a track today called IRA. I think that's what it's called. When I first saw it, I thought it was IRA, because that's how it's spelled, IRA. Now, the song is sung in Swedish. So, I tried to look up some lyrics. I couldn't find a translation. And when I put the lyrics through, like, Google Translate or something like that, when I tried to find any translation, the lyrics made absolutely no sense. It came out in such a weird translation that it made no sense whatsoever. So, I can get a vague idea of what the song might be about, but the actual lyrics as they are in a translation don't seem to make any sense whatsoever, so we won't have that to go by. So anyway, we'll jump into this track, see what it's like, and I'll talk about what little I can discern from the lyrics afterwards. So this is Night Crowned, IRA. Let's have a look. There we go. IRA by Night Crown. And very, very interesting. It says melodic black / death metal, and I can see why. I mean, there's very definite black metal feel to it, but you can also feel the influence of the death metal, mostly in the vocal styling. And saying that, they've used 3 different vocal styles throughout that track. You know, they've got the predominant sort of harsh, growled death metal style vocal. Then they had those unexpected clean vocals. And then towards the end, they had those more traditional sort of higher pitched black metal screams. And all very, very well performed. Musically, obviously, you know, there's a lot of the black metal influence in the style of the music. Very, very heavy, very, very fast, but a lot more melodic than you'd normally give to traditional black metal, which can be somewhat monotonous at times. This has got a lot more sort of variation, and of course there's the influence of, you know, death metal styles in there as well. Now, the song itself, IRA, from what I can tell, IRA is a demon of some kind. That's what it seems to suggest in the lyrics. Like I said, the translation, the only translations I can find make absolutely no sense when you read them. You know, the sentences are just so bizarrely written in the translation that it makes no sense whatsoever. So I'm not actually going to read the translation of the lyrics because it sounds utterly ridiculous. But from what I can gather from some of these lines, like the first couple of lines, it actually kind of makes sense. It says, "The darkness of the abyss is reflected in my soul. The barren emptiness I feel all too well." I'm not sure that is an accurate depiction of what those lines mean, but it sort of gives you a vague idea. But then you get later lines that say things like, "Hate for catches in my reared blood when the soul is burning in angry." Now, that second line, I'm sure it means when the soul is burning with anger, but hate for catches in my reared blood, I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. So, you know, a lot of these lines make no sense, but it seems that IRA is a demon of some kind, possibly of a demon of darkness, and causes darkness and misery. There's another line here. It makes no sense. It says, "IRA, trees in front ravaged and destroy." No idea. So I just get the idea that IRA is some kind of demon who, you know, is basically a demon of torment and driving someone crazy. And towards the end of the video, you know, you saw the vocalist, you know, with his pale skin and his completely black eye, so maybe the guy is being possessed by this demon, you know, and, you know, it's driving him crazy and, you know, turning his life miserable. I'm not entirely sure, because it does mention lines like, "until all life passes away," or at least that's the translation I get. But again, I'm not sure how accurate that is. So I really can't be absolutely certain as to the actual meaning of the song, but like I said, it does seem to be talking about some kind of demon of misery, madness, you know, that sort of thing. Overall, I quite liked it. I do think I'd need to hear more of their stuff to get a more rounded picture of the band as a whole, because, you know, whilst I do enjoy it, I'm not sure that I could listen to that song a lot, if you get my meaning. You know, it seems like the sort of track I might have to be in the right sort of mood to listen to. Because, you know, I've mentioned on several occasions I'm not the biggest proponent of, you know, I'm not even sure that's the right word. I'm not the biggest fan of black metal in general. You know, I do like black metal, but I have to be in the right mood for certain kinds. And, you know, whilst this is good, don't get me wrong, I'm not sure it's something I could, you know, sit down and just listen to casually. You know, this is something I'd have to be in the right sort of mood to listen to, I think. But this is the only track of theirs I've heard, so, you know, I'd have to explore them further and hear more of their stuff to get a more rounded overall picture of who they are. So yeah, you know, I did enjoy it. It was a good track, and, you know, there was some unexpected and very good elements in there. Like I said, it was very, very well executed. You know, the different vocal styles, you know, 3 different styles in the track, you know, very nice. You know, I've mentioned many times I do like it when they mix up vocal styles. You know, and it was, you know, very well executed. Don't get me wrong. But you know, I'm not sure it's something I can listen to over and over again, or just sort of listen to casually. You know, just pop on any old piece of music and, you know, just listen to it. I'd have to be in the right mood to listen to this specific song. So you know, I'll definitely have to investigate them further. And now I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again in 3 different ways. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You could drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a great help to me, since, of course, all my content gets immediately demonetized the moment it's uploaded. I don't make a single thing from any of the content that I upload on this channel, which is a little bit frustrating and I think a little bit unfair. You know, I'm all for the artists getting the recognition for the work that I'm using in my videos. You know, that's fair enough. But the fact that they're getting all of it kind of irks me just that little bit. You know. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire it. There's a limit on how frequently you can do that. It's limited to once a month, and that's just to be fair to people who suggest tracks through more regular means like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube comments. And if you do suggest a track through those more regular avenues, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I do get suggested so many tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, unfortunately. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture, which is something I believe in very, very strongly, something I've had to deal with personally for most of my life, and so have many of my friends and family. And it's something that has been going on for many, many years. It's been going on for decades, but it's something that sort of gets brushed under the carpet and treated as if it's not a real problem. You know, it sort of gets ignored and pushed to the sidelines, and nothing gets done. And that's something that really, really needs to change. You know, because every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear these every single day. From the most violent and heinous of these crimes, where someone is murdered because of the colour of their skin or their religious beliefs or their sexual identity, down to the most petty and pathetic of these crimes, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. You know, we hear every facet of these crimes on a daily basis on every platform of media. But we never hear about the people from the alternative culture that are getting violently and brutally attacked just purely for their taste in music. And, you know, we're not talking about like little minor things like having insults shouted at you from across the street or getting shoulder rammed as you walk down the road. No, we're talking about real violent, brutal crimes where people are getting hospitalised, sometimes with broken limbs and sometimes with even more life-threatening injuries just because of their taste in music. Now, the last time this sort of thing was actually spoken about on a broad scale was about 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally attacked by a group of about 5 or 6 people who beat them, kicked them, punched them, knocked them to the ground and stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a bit longer. I can't remember exactly how long, but he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and her taste in clothing. And when this happened, like I said, about 14 years ago, this was all over the news, as it rightfully should have been. But, you know, after a while, as all things will do, it sort of faded away and people eventually stopped talking about it so much. But in the 14 years since that's happened, we've not heard a single thing similar since. But I know for fact that there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar cases to what happened to Sophie Lancaster in that time frame, and we've heard nothing. And the main reason for that is because no one's died. And that is unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this sort of thing gets spoken about. You know, we can't allow that sort of thing to carry on. We can't just sit back and wait for someone to die before we start talking about this again. It's unacceptable. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to this sort of thing. They want more people to start talking about this sort of thing, so that they can prevent this sort of thing from ever happening again. Because if we keep ignoring it the way it's going, it's only a matter of time before someone else meets the same fate. And that is unacceptable. We cannot allow what happened to Sophie Lancaster to ever happen again. It's something that should never have happened in the first place. But by sitting back and ignoring it, we're essentially letting the people who perpetrate these crimes think that they can get away with it, because nothing's getting done. Because people are treating it as no big deal. And that needs to stop. Something needs to be done. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a hell of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website, or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, or maybe even this one, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff on their web store as well. But, you know, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.